Okay, so today we're diving deep into something a little bit uh, different,
Yeah.
something that might even sound a little bit contradictory.
Hmm.
We're going to be talking about the idea of submission,
Interesting.
but not submission in the way that we normally think about it. We're looking at this through the lens of Rule 34 from the 40 Rules of Love,
Okay.
and we're going to be looking at a particular excerpt from Text Call.
All right.
And this rule is all about the idea that true power
Hmm.
can actually come from submission.
Okay.
So the rule states,
Okay.
submission does not mean being weak or passive.
Right.
It leads to neither fatalism nor capitulation, just the opposite.
Okay.
True power resides in submission,
Interesting.
a power that comes from within.
Okay.
Those who submit to the divine essence of life will live in unperturbed tranquility and peace, even when the whole wide world goes through turbulence after turbulence.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, it is.
When we talk about submission in this context,
Mm-hmm.
what exactly are we talking about?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Because
It's
well,
definitely not the typical way
right.
yeah, the typical way we think about the word, right?
Exactly.
It's not about like giving up or being weak-willed or anything like that.
Right.
This is about something much deeper.
Yeah.
It's about aligning yourself with a force that is bigger than yourself.
Okay.
The rule calls it the divine essence of life.
Right.
Now, that might sound kind of mystical or whatever,
Right.
but you can think about it as like
Yeah.
tapping into this universal energy, this natural flow of things. You know, imagine like a tree bending with the wind instead of trying to resist it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a certain strength in
Yeah.
that surrender.
Okay. So it sounds like what we're talking about then is not becoming passive,
Exactly.
but finding a different kind of strength.
Yes.
A strength that maybe comes from letting go of this need to control everything.
Yeah, like recognizing that there are forces at play in the universe that are much bigger than us as individuals.
Right.
And sometimes
Yeah.
the wisest thing, the most powerful thing you can do is to actually harmonize with them.
Okay, but how does that translate into inner peace?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, think about it.
does that really work?
I mean, when we're constantly trying to force things to go our way,
Yeah.
when we're fighting against reality,
Mm-hmm.
that creates a lot of internal friction and stress.
Right.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Totally.
But when we can learn to accept
Yeah.
what is,
Mhm.
to kind of go with the flow,
Mm-hmm.
to trust the process,
Okay.
it frees up so much energy. There's less resistance,
Yeah.
less anxiety,
I like that.
you know?
So it's almost like we're trading in this
Yeah.
illusion of control that we have
Yeah.
for the reality of peace.
I think that's a really beautiful way to put it.
And this rule talks about finding this peace
Right.
even when the whole wide world goes through turbulence after turbulence.
Exactly.
Which suggests that this isn't about
Right.
ignoring the problems of the world
Yeah.
or pretending that everything's fine.
It's not about sticking your head in the sand.
Right.
It's about having an inner strength that allows you to weather the storms
Yeah.
without being completely swept away by them.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It makes me think about all the different areas of my own life
Yeah.
where I'm really trying to control things.
Yeah.
And, maybe white-knuckling it in certain areas
Right.
when maybe there's a better way.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of real-world examples,
Yeah.
where could this mindset of submission
Yeah.
actually be helpful?
Well, let's say you're dealing with a health challenge, for example.
Okay.
You could spend all your energy fighting against it, denying it,
Mhm.
stressing out about it,
Right.
or you could choose to surrender to the expertise of your doctors, to the process of healing,
Right.
trusting that you're being guided towards the best possible outcome.
Okay.
That doesn't mean you're giving up.
Right.
It means you're choosing to focus your energy on what you can control,
Right.
your attitude, your choices,
Yeah.
your inner state.
That's such a good point.
Right.
It makes me think about how
Yeah.
I've often resisted situations rather than surrendering to them and maybe trying to find a lesson
Exactly.
or opportunity
Yeah.
within that situation.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I do wonder, though, if we're talking about submission,
Yeah.
are there any downsides?
Sure.
Like, could it lead to complacency
Yeah.
or letting important things slide?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
And it is important to remember that this rule is
Yeah.
not saying to blindly accept everything that comes your way.
Right.
You know, this type of submission.
Yeah.
It's not about being passive or ignoring injustice.
Right.
It's about choosing your battles wisely
Okay.
and recognizing that sometimes it's more powerful to go with the flow
Mm-hmm.
than to fight against the current.
Okay, so to everyone listening,
Yeah.
think about your own life for a second.
Hmm.
Where are you holding on to tightly?
Right.
Where could a little bit of surrender
Yeah.
actually bring you more peace,
Yeah, exactly.
more strength, or even a better outcome?
Right.
All right, so we've been talking today about this idea that true power can actually reside in submission, as
Yes.
described in Rule 34.
Hmm.
It's about aligning ourselves with something larger than ourselves,
Yeah.
letting go of the need to control every little thing,
Hmm.
and finding that peace and that resilience
Absolutely.
in the midst of all the chaos.
Yeah.
I think that's a really powerful message,
It is.
and one that we could all probably benefit from hearing.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
if true power really does come from this kind of submission,
Hmm.
what does that say about our usual obsession with control?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What could we achieve?
Yeah.
What might we become
Right.
if we learned to actually let go a little bit more?
That's something for all of us to think about.
Definitely.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Mm-hmm.